Okay, in this video we're going to update and enhance our primitive PIP component to give it some more options that we can then share with our buttons and inputs and any other components that use this template. So I think we need to fix a few things that we didn't cover before, and we can add some enhancements. So let's take a look at what we can do here. Well, first of all, our icon here, we should name this left icon because we're going to add a right icon. And I can do that actually by just I can do it in many ways. I could just duplicate this one, move it down, and name this one right icon. Now if you want to, you can just change the icon so it's different. I'm just going to put chevron down just for example. This is a very common pattern. And now we have two icons. Now, let's not forget, we have to add this as an option. So as you can see, because I've duplicated it, it's actually created, it thinks it's a duplicate of the left one. So I have to break that, and I'll have to create a new one. So let's add a new one. Let's call it right icon. Question mark, following the same convention. And I would set it to false, and I will, but for now we're going to make some more changes, so I'm going to leave it on. Because you can switch these on and off simply by hiding them here, because it's just a visibility layer. The issue I have with this is that it's too large. 24 is too big really compared to our text. Our text should be the most prominent feature here. So let's make these smaller. Now I've locked the aspect ratio with that button, and now I'm going to set them both at 16. There we go, they get a lot less importance compared to our text, and that's kind of what we want. So now these are a better size. We can make more tweaks later on, but for now we're going to hide those again so we don't push anything onto our instances that we don't want. We always must reset it so that we can switch them on as an option. Now what else have we got to fix here? Well, actually if we check our buttons again, we'll find that they're using the black, which is not in our design system. So we must link it to a token. As soon as we want them the same color as the text, in this instance we can link it with using the color text, so we're sure they're the same color. Now there's some options here. This isn't necessarily the best practice. Best practice might be to have a default icon color and then link that to the text color. So let's do that. We just go to color, we just simply create a new color. We're going to call it color icon default. This is just optional, but it's good practice. I'm going to link it to our color text. So now we know that our color icon default is always going to be the same color as our text. Let's close that. Let's select the two layers and let's change that instead to icon default. So now they're linked, but we have the option of unlinking them or changing the color of the icons. That just gives us more flexibility in the future. Okay, so now we've enhanced our primitive. We're going to hide those again, and if we go to our button and zoom into our PIP, you can see that now I have left icon, right icon, sizes are updated. Okay, we're looking good. One more thing we might do with our PIP, which is very common, is to add a support text for this text. So we can do this in many ways, but we'll just duplicate with Command D the text, and we're going to call this new text support text. Okay, and even here we will call it support text. Now, it doesn't look like support text at the moment because it's exactly the same as the primary text, so we're going to have to fix that. How are we going to do that? Well, maybe we can reduce the color here. It's black, whereas maybe it should be grey. Now we don't want to use the greys we have here. We shouldn't use that, as we said before. That's about practice. And we don't have anything here that is for that purpose. So let's create a new variable, color, and we're going to call this one color text support. This is one option. You can use whichever nomenclature makes sense for your system. And we're going to link it to the grey 50. So now the color text uses a palette, which is what we want. So now I can just choose this, change this to my new support color, and there we go. Now it's more of a support text. You might think this one is, maybe we should shrink the size of this text. I mean, that depends, right? But that's a possibility. So for that, we would have to create a new font size, which we don't currently have. So let's go and consider this for a second in our font section. Here's what we had before. Let's just remove the grid for now. We don't need to see the grid at the moment. Let's make a smaller version. So we don't want it to be body medium. I'm going to deselect that. And we don't want it to be 16, but that's the only token we have. So let's test what size we do want. Maybe we want 12. We will have to also change the line height, as we mentioned. At 150%, that would become 16. That looks good. So maybe we can roll with these. Now these are out of our design system, so we must add them. So let's go back to our variables. Let's go to our font. Remember this, font size medium, and this one is going to be font size small. So let's create that variable. Ooh, it's going to be number font size small 12, and we also need the line height S. Oops, I see and that will be 16. Line height small, we should follow the same nomenclature and logic, so that should be font size S 12 with a 16 line height. Now that we're ready, we can actually use those tokens here, and that would be font size small, and here we need to go for line height S. So 12, 16. Okay, now we're using our design system. Color is wrong, so we must link that to text, for example, even though this is just our documentation. Let's link that one while we're at it, just so we are good practice. Okay, now we have our different size. Let's go back to our PIP. Now this one we can actually change. Oh, well, we must add this. That's one thing we forgot to do, of course. We must add this to our design system. So now we have body smaller support text. Spell it right. Create the style. That's what we forgot to do. Okay. Easily overlooked, I guess. Now let's go here, and now we should be able to choose small. Okay. And that will depend on the way you want to lay it out. Now, at the moment it's aligned center, and depending on your needs, you might want to change the alignment, which you would do with these. But we want more fine granular control of just this area, not the whole alignment of it. So we need to group these with the auto layer 2, which we'll call texts. And now we could change the alignment of these and not the alignment of the whole object. Right, so if you wanted them to align bottom, we can do that, or in the center. Gives us a little bit more granular control. Now, let's not forget that we want to set these up as optional. So, first of all, now we've got a group of text and we've got our support text. So let's say, for example, we want to hide the whole of this text section and have an empty shape, or just the icon. Well, I'm going to have to create a property for that. So let's create a property. Texts. Let's leave it on for now. Probably we will usually show that. So text is now true. And if we want to, we can just allow the support text to be visible or not visible. Let's leave it true for now. Okay, that's visible, but I can switch it off just by doing that. It's the same as setting the property. So now we're going to have some options for our buttons. So let me switch that off. And this one I'll keep it on as a standard, but if we go to a button now and we're going to a PIP, you'll see we can switch the right icon on and off. We can even switch on the support text. We can even hide the text. Now if we had an icon and we hide the text, we get just an icon button. So we have a lot more flexibility now, and of course the button and the input are both inheriting this. So this is a great flexibility. We just must remember to keep it the same way we set it up initially and allow people to switch them on so that it doesn't disrupt any instances. Okay, we've enhanced our primitive now. We can move on to finer things.